Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Stylistpreneur Podcast. I am your host, Damali Fils, and today we have with us Kerry Abner. He is the founder and CEO of Manhattan Gray, a product, actually a vegan product dedicated to folks with gray hair. Kerry, come on in the room. How are you?
What's up, Damali? Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
I'm really excited, Kerry, because we go back. Like
We
we go
go.
back to college.
Yes.
Okay. Go Bulls, University of South Florida.
Mhm.
I'm always excited to have somebody on the podcast that I know personally. Like it has a different meaning when I have someone on here. I'm like, I know them. And I'm so excited for what you're doing. So please, Kerry, tell us all about Manhattan Gray.
Yeah. It's crazy. Manhattan Gray was just an idea that I had when I was living in New York. So around 20, maybe like November, December 2019, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I wanted to take better care of my hair. Like I wanted to have some sort of hair care routine.
Okay.
I was doing the tradition. I don't know if it's traditional, but I was doing like the guy thing. I had like the 6-in-1 shampoos, the thick
Right.
ass, you know what I mean? And I just didn't think that was going to be a long term, uh, you know, kind of vibe for me. So I started to look around for other products that were specifically for gray hair because I've been graying since I was about 20 years old. So I've always
Okay.
had salt and pepper thing going on. Um, was really insecure about it, to be honest with you, because like the
Mm-hmm.
societal narrative about gray hair is, you're old, you're
Right.
stressed, and all that kind of stuff. So, um, as I started to look for products that specifically were for gray hair, I couldn't find any, unless they were talking about covering up your gray,
Mm-hmm.
like cover your gray, dye it black, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or there was just some some old guy on the box and it was like Silver Fox and it was like everybody
Right.
that. So I couldn't really find anything that kind of resonated with me, and I don't know, my entrepreneurial spirit was like, well, what if I could create one? And
Right.
I like where the journey started.
Okay, that's awesome. So what I'm hearing is that you decided like, hey, I can't find what I need, can't find what I want, and like you noticed that there was a void. And I feel
Hmm.
like some of the best businesses, like they literally start because it's just like they didn't have what I needed on the market, so I decided to create it.
Yeah.
So with creating it, like where do you start? Because it's not every day that you wake up and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna start a product brand. Like, where do you start with that, Carrie?
I honestly, I just okay. So I understood a couple of basic things. I
Okay.
knew that there were private label companies that
Mm-hmm.
already created products
Right.
that other people could then brand and like sell as their own products.
Okay.
I knew that much. And I have a background in marketing. So like I'm kind of, loosely in the world of information regarding like products and marketing and social
Okay.
and digital, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that much. So I basically, and I had a friend who was big into essential oils. So
Okay.
he was always like talking to me about essential oils. If I had a headache, she'd be like, "Oh, put frankincense on your chest,"
Right.
all this kind of stuff. And at first, I was like, oh, "Man, whatever." But like, I
Right.
kinda went back to it. I was like, "Oh yeah, like how do essential oils affect hair, or like what are their
Hmm.
to like encourage healthy hair?" So I started to like look at them. I found like your coconut oils, your avocado oils, your sunflower oils, the
Hmm.
oil. I just started finding all these things and started to basically Google search what each oil did for hair in general.
Right. Okay.
Um, and then I went and made an Excel spreadsheet of like all of these private label companies. I made about a list about 30 of them and
Hmm.
just down started calling each one of them and
Okay.
trying to figure out like, hey, this is my situation. I'm trying to create a product. This is the problem I'm trying to solve. This is what I'm experiencing. And one by one, they kind of just started to check themselves out as far as like,
Okay.
oh, you have to order a
Oh
$10,000
yeah.
minimum. And I was like, I ain't got that. I ain't
Right.
got
No.
I'm not ready, you know what I mean? So it came down to like just one or two that really resonated with me. They talked to me about, the issue that I was having. They were kind of willing to give me a little extra hand holding because I was starting from
Okay.
zero as far as information. I had no idea of what I was going to,
Right.
do this. They had like, diverse representation on their websites. And I was like, oh, okay, like at least they understand, or they led me to believe that they understand that like black hair is a little different than, you know, it just requires a different level of maintenance and
Right.
moisture and protection. And then black gray hair, has an even more nuance. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I kind of started from, basically reaching out to private label companies, explaining what I knew to be my challenge, and then gave them a very short list of essential oils that I thought should or could be in the formula. And that's kind of like how I got the ball rolling.
Okay. So I love that you said you pretty much used your basic knowledge. You reached out to like friends and people that you already knew because sometimes it can be overwhelming trying to start something new, deciding to start a business, and some people feel like it's too much or like I can't do it and they don't know like you just have to get started. So I love
Right.
that you're just like, listen, I'm gonna try it. And so when it comes to like formulating, I know you said you looked into some of the ingredients, didn't really know all of them. Like, what was the process of formulating Manhattan Gray?
It's kind of like a basic, it's not basic. It's like this R&D process, right? Research and development process. So I gave them the initial handful of ingredients that I thought could be in the formula, and then they just started sending me samples of different
Okay.
ideas. So they sent me a cream first, and it had all of these ingredients that I couldn't pronounce and I didn't
Right.
understand. I was immediately like, that's bad marketing, because if I don't know what,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, it's hard for me to understand.
Right.
So that was a dub. And then they sent me a oil first, and then like the experience of the oil was kind of it just at the time it was just not what I was looking for, because it was like the oil was running down my arm. I was trying to
Right.
like figure out how to. I was like, man, I don't want to go through this first thing in the morning. So I kind of
Right.
like went from what's the ingredients, right? Boom. I need to be able to market and articulate and know what I'm talking about. Then I need
Hmm.
to know what the actual experience felt like. So, like, what is the morning routine that I would go through with this product? And then the last iteration, which was the third iteration, was a pomade.
Okay.
And I understood that from a language perspective, um,
Hmm.
because I was using like Murray's pomade back in the day, like Sport and Waker's pomade back in the day.
Right.
I just understood the word pomade, what it meant.
Hmm.
Was I had my own experience with it. Once they sent it to me, the texture was right. The We changed the ingredients because I wanted it to be vegan or as close to natural products as as humanly
Right.
possible. And I just kind of built off from that. It was a very thin silver little can of pomade, and then I just kind of like built the steps from there.
Okay. Now, when they were sending you the samples, were you just testing it on yourself, or did you have like a group of friends and family that you were also letting test it? How was the testing process?
Yeah, when I very first got it, it was just me. Like when I
Okay.
very first got it. But then um once I settled on the idea of a pomade, I went ahead
Hmm.
and put in an order for maybe like 60 units or something like
Okay.
that. It was a very basic, like 50 to 60 unit order. And then from there, I passed out a bunch of samples to people. And
Okay.
I'm, hey, can you tell me if this product is, one, does it do what I say it's going to do? Does it
Okay.
moisturize your hair? Handed it out to like my friends, my dad's friends, my mom's friends, my aunt, like just the older people in my
Right.
family who noticeably had gray hair. And like whether they were in a space of talking about embracing their gray hair or not.
Okay. That makes
Because
a difference.
it makes a big difference, because like a lot of people just wasn't really in the mindset to do so. They were still, dyeing their hair. And that was one of the big things I was trying to combat. It was like
Okay.
I knew that hair dye was it was damaging
Hmm.
people. But so yeah, I just let them try it out. And once I kind of got a good set of feedback that I felt confident about, like, yeah, this doesn't break out my skin. Yes, the
Right.
texture good. I don't have a bunch of like sticky aftertouch on my hands after using
Mm-hmm.
the product. So there was very specific things that I was learning along the way that I didn't know was important until I got the feedback.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, I
Mhm.
know you mentioned vegan. What was the deciding factor as far as wanting the product to be vegan?
I think we was like in a wave of the pendulum had swung from like just mainstream generalized products to people wanting to be more health conscious about what they're
Mm-hmm.
putting on their hair and what they're putting on their skin.
Okay.
So I was in a community of people who were like eating cleaner, reading labels of what's going on,
Right.
their bodies. I was looking at companies like the Honest Company from Jessica Alba and just being like, oh, like, there's this whole, you know, I guess wave of products and entrepreneurship and mindset shift that was more health conscious about what they're utilizing on their bodies, and I wanted to be a part of that narrative versus
Okay.
just like this catch all whatever the case. I don't know what's going in my body.
Right. No, I completely understand that. And I mean, as a hair stylist, like I've known a lot of clients that are like, hey, I'm coming in with my own products because, I want vegan free products. Or like you said, they're just looking to live a different type of lifestyle. So I love
Mhm.
that you made the products vegan. Now
Yeah.
you're breaking barriers because, like you said, some people like they get the gray hair and they're like, I don't want the gray hair. I'm gonna dye it. And so
Right.
you're definitely breaking barriers. And I feel like you're helping people embrace the grays. Like, was that a part of your goal when creating this product?
It was a part of the goal for me to embrace my you know what I mean, because it was
Right.
like, I mean, it gave me a reason, like I I honestly consciously believe that growing up my hair was such a topic of
Mhm.
discussion to like strangers and people I knew, and it was like it almost kind of like closed me off. It kind of like put me in a shell. Like I wore hats and hoodies and
Mhm.
like almost like a uniform because I was trying to cover up my hair.
Right.
Um, so like people wouldn't bring it up in discussion or make it like a topic all the time. And it wasn't until I was like maybe into like Manhattan Gray, maybe till like I was 34,
Mhm.
33, 34, and I had this idea of a product. And because what the product was, I had to like start wearing my hair out so that I
Right.
could resonate with the people that I'm speaking to. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to have a product that was different from the societal narrative. And being in marketing, I think that I never really saw enough of like people with gray hair being showcased in advertising.
Mhm.
They they weren't in commercials. They wasn't in like the beauty magazines. Um, it was always like this overly um, pushed narrative of like youth and beauty was about your your hair color of being like youthful and looking youthful, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So I never really understood why I never saw myself until I started this process
Right.
of grace. So like yeah, when I started it, it was more so me trying to embrace my own insecurities of my gray hair and wanting to like overcome that. And then the snowball started to happen because
Okay.
now other people were like, man, like I want to stop dyeing my hair too. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just need a product to like help me, keep it moisturized and looking youthful and looking, looking healthy. I just didn't have one, and then
Right.
that's I just kind of embraced it from there.
Gotcha. So when it does come to marketing Manhattan Gray, like what things would you say that you are doing differently from what, we've seen in the past where people aren't embracing it? Like how are you marketing it so that, people will say, okay, now I want to do that or now I'm more interested in wearing my gray hair?
I just make sure that people with gray hair, I mean, obviously, right, but I just make sure people with gray hair are well represented in all of my marketing material.
Okay.
I have like my website and my social media and like even my pitch decks. Like it's nothing but like beautiful, youthful looking people with gray
Right.
hair. And I think once I got into the community, there's a lot more of us than I actually
Mm-hmm.
like. We all kind of felt isolated. Like we all
Right.
felt you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's around us is dyeing their hair and want to keep it looking like that. But I was just more so like, once I created the space for us that had the tagline is embrace your gray, right?
Okay.
We even have like t-shirts that say like choose greatness, where it's like a play on words with like
Cute.
GREYTENS. So yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm kind of just going with my gut from a marketing
Hmm.
perspective of like, make sure that you take photo shoots with people with gray hair, and make sure that your product messaging is about embracing your gray,
Hmm.
and using words like confidence and
Right.
individuality and being unique, and like just that whole trying to give gray a new narrative of power versus like something that should be hidden.
Gotcha. No, I
Mhm.
love that. And I did glance at your Instagram page, and I think there was a clip or a picture of an older guy that had jet black hair. And it's just like, there's no way, like, dude, you're 70 with jet
Mhm.
black hair. Like, instead of coloring it, and literally, like, these people are coloring their hair like every 2 weeks because the hair is growing. It's
Mhm.
like, dude, just embrace it. Like, we know you're older, right?
You're right. You're right. I
It,
mean, it's an expense. You know what I mean? It's
it
a
really
money.
is, though.
It's an expense to like color your hair every 2 weeks, and the truth of the matter is, it's you're adding unnecessary harmful chemicals to your hair as
Hmm.
well. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, I'm not attacking colorists or anything, but I just think that the truth is that these hair dyes, the ones that are like more over the counter, like regular traditional, I'm sure that there's a cleaner version now, but
Right.
the ones that I was around, the ones that I knew of, it was very much like you're adding all these chemicals to your hair that over time thin out your hair, break it down more, start to hair loss starts to become a thing. And I was just trying to get ahead of that, I guess.
Gotcha. Now, when it comes to getting the word out about the brand, are you pretty much like a one-man show? Are you marketing, doing the business? Are you working with, collaborating with others? How are you getting the word out about Manhattan Gray?
I've been getting the word out. It's definitely been a community effort. I just hit people up on Instagram. I send DMs all day, and I'll be like,
Okay.
"Hey, can I send you my product? I just want you to try it. If you like it, let's talk about maybe, I'll pay you, you know what I'm saying, for like a post." So I'm familiar with the whole influencer marketing thing.
Okay.
Um, so I send the product out on a constant, regular basis. Um, I request people to make videos, social videos utilizing the product, and they'll post it on their stuff. I'll post it on mine, and then I also use the content for paid advertising. So I
Okay.
boost the content with marketing spin on Facebook and Instagram. Um, what else do I do? I do podcasts and
Right.
interviews. And then I show the process. I show all the behind the scenes stuff. I think that
Hmm.
really novel about you know, it's not only a hair product company. It's like an entrepreneurial story,
Hmm.
right? It's like I I I don't have any background in hair.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I don't. It's kind of crazy that I have a hair product business, but I don't have any background. So everything that I'm doing for the first time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like there's a narrative there as well, that like people who aspire to want to build something
Right.
can build something. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I just show everything. I show when I'm fumbling, I show when things are breaking because I have glass jars. I show the process of making the boxes.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, just show it.
And see, I love that, and that's what the podcast is all about. There's so many beauty professionals or anybody else that are just like, I wish I could do this, or I have no idea how to do this. And so I'm just like, I have people on the podcast so that they can share their story, so they
Mhm,
can show somebody else, hey, I started from scratch. This is
mhm,
something that you can do. And
mhm.
so you may have started from scratch and you're learning, but I saw that the products are in Walmart. Let's get into it. How do we get into Walmart, Carrie?
Yeah, there's so like Walmart.com, there's similar to like Amazon, right? There
Okay.
is a Walmart Seller Central. I think that's
Okay.
exactly what it's called. Walmart Seller Central. So Walmart.com. So it's actually in Walmart.com. I'm like
Okay.
not physically in the stores yet.
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
not yet, not yet. I want to quit. But I realized that there's a .com to all of these major brands that a lot of people who are in the e-commerce space shop at, right?
Hmm.
So like Walmart.com, there's Ulta.com and Target.com. So like you have the opportunity to apply for your brand to be a part of these programs that will allow you to feature and sell your product in their .com stores.
Okay.
So the process was like me basically finding out that this is a thing, going
Right.
to Walmart Seller Central, applying. There's a couple of things that you probably need up front. You need to have a registered trademark in progress. It doesn't need to be
Okay.
done, but in progress. You need to have your barcode and UPC numbers together.
Okay.
Um, so that's a whole thing, and I can talk about that too.
Okay.
Um, and then some clean pictures, your pricing together, your product descriptions, your weight and unit size, your retail costs versus your wholesale costs. There's a bunch of little nuanced things that I just
Right.
happen to have in progress that once I applied to Walmart.com, I was able to get across the line because I had already filed for my trademark. I had already figured out how to get barcodes and UPC numbers because of the Amazon process. Like
Okay.
that was a whole nother thing on that side. So
Okay.
getting into Amazon was kind of like a similar way of getting into Walmart.com, just with a couple of different pieces that you needed.
Okay. And where else can we find the products?
Um, so Amazon.com, Walmart.com. I have a Shopify store. You can buy it through Facebook and Instagram, but it's not physically anywhere as of yet, as of today.
Okay.
Um, but Etsy, Pinterest, like I'm trying to utilize all,
Listen, all of them.
all of them. I'm in
Hey,
there.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. So what were some of the challenges with getting this product started or even just throughout the whole process?
Um, I think some of my biggest challenges were one, the learning curve of like
Hmm.
understand what I was doing and the language that everybody uses in this particular industry. I didn't know what, you know, MQSs were or MSQs or something like that. Like minimum,
Yeah.
quantity. I didn't know that. I mean, just the like, and essentially I am a one man band. Like,
Okay.
and I say that respectfully to everybody who has helped me build this, but
Okay.
I don't have a team, a central team of people who are dedicated to this particular project.
Okay.
Um, so I say that very respectfully and humbly to anybody who watches this. But you know, it's a lot. It's a whole lot to like make the formula and like test the formula
Right.
and find the right jars and bottles that it needs to go in, finding the seals and then the lid and then creating a label and then
Right.
creating the box and then writing the copy and then creating. It's so
Right.
much. It's so much, and I genuinely did not know any of it.
Okay.
Any of it. So everything I did was like a step by step thing. So I think the process, the learning curve, the education, me being doing it by myself largely,
Hmm.
like just a solopreneur perspective, um, and then learning about the 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 time, the production time.
Okay.
So like when I sell something and if I'm running out of product, I needed to understand when my resale mark was, because I mean my reorder mark,
Hmm.
because the production of it takes like 6 to 8 weeks to kind of
Right.
get made and to the fulfillment center. So I had a lot of mad people about.
Right. I hate to like want to order something. They're like, oh, it's on back order. Like, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I learned that too. I learned that the hard way. I got a lot of emails to send. Um, so it was, yeah, so much stuff.
Yeah.
Damali, if I'm being honest, um, I wish I had a more clear answer about what the challenges were, but almost everything was a challenge until it wasn't. Right? You know,
Gotcha.
it was so much. So, but yeah, learning the barcode thing was a big thing too.
Okay. So what piece of advice would you give someone who's like, you know what, I like to start a brand, I like to create a product? Like, what's some advice you can give them?
Um, uh, Stick with it. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like
Yeah.
stick with it. If you're starting from zero, like I started, um,
Hmm.
Google and YouTube is your friend.
Right.
Like type it in how to XYZ.
Right. There's always a video.
There's always a video, there's always an article. Like read, be patient, be gentle with yourself because there's so much information that I didn't have that, would make this a lot easier today.
Right.
But there's also this journey that you go through of like excited because you have a new idea and then like you're
Hmm.
getting stuff and you're testing things and you're creating the logo and then it's like, oh, like this is taking a lot longer than I thought and like
Right.
this is slow and boring and this is not selling fast enough and materializing. And I wanted to quit so many times. I'm not even sitting up here trying to pose like I had this figured out and I
Right.
mustered it through. I wanted to stop this so many times and just be like, man, this is too much of my time and I'm not really
Right.
figuring this out. So I would say stick with it. I would say like definitely lean on your free resources and um try to what they call MVP. So I read this book called The Lean Startup, and there's this
Okay.
concept in there called MVP, like the minimal viable product. Try to figure out how to get your idea and messaging across with the lowest amount of investment, energy, resources, so that you can validate the idea before you go build out this full business and then
Right.
launch and then nobody actually has this issue and wants to buy the product
That makes
because
sense.
that's a whole different issue that you got now.
Right. Because now you have this big thing and it's just like, okay, nobody even needed it or wanted it. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
nice. Wasted a lot of time and resources. So like my minimal viable product was just I had a survey. I just started with a basic survey with 5 questions about gray hair and sent it to a lot of my pop's friends. And then
Okay.
the messaging was like, man, I'm having dry hair. My hair itches, my hair breaks off, and I was like, okay, these are gonna be the problems I'm solving for with my product.
Gotcha. Now, as
Mhm.
far as like timing, give us a time frame. Like how many years or months or whatnot has this process taken?
Well, today I've been in operation for a little over 3 years. So
Okay.
I launched the product publicly on my birthday, July 31st, 2020.
Okay.
Uh, I probably was working on it maybe 7 months before that.
Okay.
And that was like me in my room, calling private label companies,
Right.
testing the product, trying to find somebody who can help me design a logo, and
Right.
how do I make labels and how do I print labels, like all of that.
Right.
Yeah, it was a minute. It was a minute.
That's funny. So I ask everybody that comes on the podcast, what is your entrepreneurial power? Like, how are you able to do this? How are you making it work? Like, there has to be some type of power you have, whether that be communication, whether that be taking a risk. Like, what would you say your power is as an entrepreneur?
Um, my therapist say I'm pretty impulsive, so I think that's my power. I think
Hey, that works.
I think it is. I think that I'm willing to jump, and I'm willing to jump and build the plane on the way down.
Okay.
I think the power is um I have this I have the ability to even though I think I want to stop, I have the ability to stick it through. Like I have
Okay.
the like, okay, well, okay, now we need boxes. So like we got to figure out how to make a box. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Now we need this. Like we need to figure out how to do this. And I'm willing to spend that time, energy, effort on figuring it out. And I think that is probably the grit is probably one of my best qualities entrepreneurially is that I have that thing about seeing it through.
Gotcha. No, I
Mhm.
absolutely love that. Now, as far as the future, what are the goals? What are you foreseeing for Manhattan Gray?
I want to build Manhattan Gray to be one of those brand. I mean, I look at Manhattan Gray as more of like a time company than I do like a hair company. And I think
Okay.
that's an interesting like spin, because I think I heard Gary Vee say one time, Uber is actually a time company, not a transportation company.
Mm-hmm.
And when I thought about that statement, I kind of resonated it and connected it back to Manhattan Gray, because I have this notion that everybody's gonna go gray.
They are. They are.
Everybody's gonna
Listen,
go.
my patch is coming in. It's
You
coming
know what
in.
I'm
You
saying?
can't see it, but it's coming.
I got you. I'm gonna send you some.
Listen.
So I almost got like this conveyor belt, this generational conveyor belt of customers.
Okay.
Just like, the baby boomers is probably like my main customers. Gen X is coming right behind that. And just like this conveyor belt of like customers who are going gray and need to find and want products to like maintain the moisture and health of their hair
Mm-hmm.
without applying so many chemicals to it. So um I look at it like something that I could do and build over time. I don't have this this urgency to rush it because I want it to be
Okay.
right. I don't
Right.
have like this I don't have the desire to like rush. I have this very calm spirit about growing it for the long term. Obviously, I wanted to go retail. Obviously, I wanted, to have commercials on TV and in Times Square, billboards. I want to have
Right.
fun things. Um, but also, you know, hope to like service and help as many people as I can
Mm-hmm.
who 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 ultimately decide to embrace their gray, and in finding confidence in doing so with a product that helps them along that journey.
Yeah.
So I like that's really like my end goal outside of all the trimmings of, you know, the cool write-ups and
Right.
publications, the cool partnerships and the cool people who use it and all that. But I just want to help people like really kind of turn that corner, because I struggled with it for a long time.
Gotcha. No, I love it. I mean, I'm a hairstylist, so I see it all the time. Or
Yeah.
definitely with women, they're just like, there's no way I cannot go gray. So I love that you've created something to help people and to help them embrace, what they naturally have.
Because it's not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Nowhere.
It's not.
Nowhere.
It's
Well,
not.
Carrie, I won't keep you. I thank you so much for coming on. This was an amazing episode. And I can't wait to share it with everybody. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Damali. This is awesome. I'm gonna definitely check out more of your episodes, and I do appreciate you sharing your platform with me. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good day, Carrie.
Have a good one.